Welcome back to Mass Appeal. It's time for Design Appeal, and today we're joined by Bob Melnick. He's from Green River Woodcraft, and we're going to make our own pen.
Yep.
Now here we have a lathe, and this is basically the same principle as baseball bats get made on, or if you have chairs with the circular pieces, that's what gets made in this, but today we're making a pen.
Yep, no, the wood spins and we hold a tool up against it.
So this is referred to as a lathe, and what's this tool referred to as?
That would be a gouge. It started off as a bowl gouge, but I ground the tip a little bit different. So it's basically a bowl gouge I modified a little bit myself.
Now this is something that you can't do at home. I mean, you can pick up something like this, but you know, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, but if you go on Craigslist or stuff, you can get some used ones. The old machines are still really good, and you can get some used ones for, you know, under a couple $100 a lot of times. And a lot of times you see these actual specific tools. I got these used, and they're great. They're old Craftsman tools. They're probably 40 years old, but they're still fine.
Now you're teaching a class. Quickly tell us about that.
I'm at New England School of Architectural Woodworking in East Hampton, nesaw.com. You can go there. And in the fall, there'll be a class on this itself. So if you can't afford to get yourself a lathe, you can do it yourself still, just taking the class.
See, I want the free class right now. Let's get started.
All right.
So you were telling me a little bit earlier, but basically, we turn it on.
Yep. You turn it on, and what you want to do is, right here we have a beveled area, and we line that up on the piece of wood, and we drop it down until it starts cutting, and then we just start shaping it whatever we want. Now, what I normally do, I don't get too crazy. I usually just do kind of a simple cylinder, but some people like having all sorts of bumps and knobs everywhere. So go in and now just move it to the side.
I'm nervous.
It's all right. Look, you're doing great.
Well, mine's all. How do you even it out?
You even it out with another tool later on called a scraper. We might not have quite enough time, but if you want, you know, dig it out pretty good, and then I'll smooth it up a little bit.
All right. And now, is there any special design work that you can do? Like if I were to put...
If you put grooves in like that for a grip, a lot of times, I teach at the high school in Northampton, and kids are always making them grooved. I personally just always end up going kind of simple, but a lot of people like doing the grooves.
And now, can you taper both sides of it, or do you want this side to be larger?
No. What we end up doing, I tell everyone that you want it to be basically the size of that little metal bushing there.
So at the end, you want it to go all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah, you got to be careful at the end, though. So if you get a little bit too aggressive, you can break it.
I think I just did.
No, you did all right. So you can break it, but...
And this is one of those, this makes a great gift.
Yeah, especially if you make it yourself. And this is the kind of thing that within a half hour, an hour, you know enough to have fun. And once you get into pens, you can go beyond that. There's kits, all sorts of kits that you can buy through different companies. You can make a Mach 3 razor for yourself.
Oh, and you have some of those razors right there.
You know, wine bottle stoppers are another thing. There's this little really cool necklace kit that you can buy. There's a little magnifying glass necklace.
So it's almost an unlimited amount of projects that you can do.
Yeah. And then once you get beyond this small spindle turning, what we call, you can get into making bowls and such. So.
All right. So that's my rough one. I'm going to call it quits. It looks like an oddly shaped vase.
So what we do is we take this and we'd use a different area to scrape it down. Then we'd sand it. And once we sanded it, we have
something that looks like this?
Kind of completed. And I already put the nose cone in a little bit.
And did you already put some finish on that, or lacquer or something?
Yeah, there's two different ways to finish it. You can use what's called a friction polish, which with a little bit of heat, you put on a cloth, a little bit of heat, and it creates a really nice like a high polish. Or you can use actually super glue. And super glue is what I always use for something that might get into some water, like this.
And it dries fine? It's not going to stick to your hand when you're writing?
You have an activator. You put it on with a paper towel. It's very simple. And then you spray on an activator, and it seals up instantly. And there you go.
So you have this piece right here, and then you buy a pen kit. So how do you put it all together?
Well, the pen kits are right here. The pen kits are right here. And you have a press, and I'll push the nose cone in. And then we have the part that holds the little ink cartridge.
And now you can buy this kit probably at any arts and crafts store.
Well, you might have to go like a Woodcraft. West Springfield Woodcraft, they have them. You can go online on a couple different companies too. And this one is where you can mess up. There's a little indentation on that silver piece. You can only press to that point. Otherwise, the ink cartridge will stick out too far. So then we have the top part. We have a little clip and another end piece.
How cool is this? What a gift.
Yeah, it's a great gift. It really is. And it's something fun as an introduction into wood turning. A lot of times people like to do wood turnings, but they'll go to like a craft fair or a fine woodworking place, and they see these large bowls and vases, and they're intimidating.
But it's the same process.
But it's the same basic process. This, I'll say, is easier than making a large bowl, and it takes much less time.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, my design isn't anywhere near as cool as yours, but it took a couple minutes.
It took, yeah, my mother-in-law came out last time for a visit, and we went into the shop, and within a half hour, she had a pen that looked almost identical to this.
Well, here it is. Here's the finished product. How cool is this?
So
Love it.
There you go. And this is tiger maple. And if you look at it, if you hold it into the light different ways, you'll see little stripes appear and disappear. It's a really interesting wood. And you don't need much wood to do it.
That's probably a whole nother conversation in and of itself, too, how many pieces, have different kinds of wood that you can use and the finishes that they would have.
Yep.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for
you.
stopping by today. This is pretty cool. And you can always go to mymassappeal.com a little bit later to watch this segment again.